Paedophile hunters are real. They're these guys who are trapping paedophiles by pretending to be children. This is online, by the way. They're not going around in school uniform and a big net. Got one! They go online and they set up an account and they pretend to be a kid. And then they start chatting to different people online, and eventually they chat to a paedophile. They ask to meet up, they turn up. I'm not a 14-year-old boy, you idiot. I'm a paedophile hunter. You're under arrest. Now, the police aren't happy about this at all. The police are saying it's interfering with their investigation, so the police are trying to catch these paedophile hunters by pretending to be paedophiles. The police are going online, setting up accounts, pretending to be paedophiles, chatting to the paedophile hunters who are pretending to be children. They all arranged to meet up. I'm not a 14-year-old boy, I'm a paedophile hunter. You're under arrest. No, I'm not, because I am not a paedophile. I'm a police officer. You're under arrest. This is happening all over the UK. If you ever see two blokes arguing near a playground, there's a high chance that's a police officer and a paedophile hunter. I think Prince Andrew could be an undercover police officer.
I don't go to the doctors very often, so when I do, I just give him everything that's wrong with me. And in no particular order at all. I'm just like, help me, right? And I go in, I'm just really honest. I go, doctor, me and my wife went to Whitby on holiday recently, and I don't know if you know Whitby, but there's very high cliffs in Whitby, and the whole time I was there, I kept getting intrusive thoughts to jump off the cliff, jump off the cliff, jump off the cliff. Then one night, doctor, me and my wife were walking along the pier, and I see an old couple kind of leaning up the pier, eating fish and chips. And I very vividly imagine clotheslining the old couple off that pier, and I'm clearly seeing them in my mind falling and smashing against the rocks, and their elderly, blooded, frail bodies in the fish and the chips just washing into the ocean. And do you think this is athlete's foot? It's a bit red on the side there, I don't know if you could see that.
Like, I saw a meth head, or a gentleman that smokes meth, if you will, get on the tram in Melbourne, and he got on and he went like this. Transformers, more than meets the eye. It must be good to let go, you know what I mean? Do you know how many times I've been in meetings or whatever and wish I'd just gone, Decepticons! And, like, I'm not trying to have a go at meth heads. Like, my cousin was a meth addict and he recovered, but I'll tell you something fascinating about it. The meth energy never goes. You got that shit for life. Like, he's still fucking... Literally, he's like that in conversations. But now it's about granola. You know what I mean? Like, sick granola, man. How many fibres are in there? Fucking antioxidants. Sick! Like, he walks into organic shops like, fuck. Where's your fucking goji berries, cunt? This meth head, he's walking up and down the tram, he's screaming, he's having arguments he never got to win. He's having them again where he wins them. I fucking told you, Trevor, and I was fucking right, wasn't I? You didn't fucking listen, did you? You didn't fucking listen! And then he turns to a woman standing next to me, and he goes, "You're attractive." Everyone's like, holy fuck, holy fuck. He says to the whole tram, "Women are the most intelligent of the species." Then he says this, "Sorry, if you identify as a woman." What the fuck? I did not see that coming. That fucking blew my mind. In Melbourne, even the lunatics awoke. Before he got on the tram, he's like, "I'd like to announce that my pronouns are they, them. Now I'm going to get my cock out and wave it around like a helicopter." But nobody said anything because they're too intimidated. No one's going to tell a meth head to shut up. People think meth heads start screaming on the tram. They don't. They start in the park or whatever, a little bit like, "Fuck you," cunt. Like a little bit. that's their open mic. They're like learning, like, and then fuck you, like trying out, and then they're in the street shoving people. That's when they're in the support stage. Like, by the time they get on public transport, they got a boom box. They're headlining. Fucking fuck you, like they're fucking cut, like that's it. Other meth heads are looking at them, going, "How'd you get that fucking tram?" Bullshit. Like they're jealous. Because no one's ever going to tell, like, a meth head to shut up because it's too intimidating. It's like really, really hot people. Like, really attractive people. No one ever tells them to shut up and they just get crazier and crazier. Like, if Margot Robbie walks on the bus and just goes, "Can I sit there?" You're like, "Absolutely you can. Welcome. Oh, my God. Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes." Fucking meth head walks on. He's got a chicken in a bag. He's got a tin of peaches. He's like, "I'm sitting there." "Absolutely you are, my friend. Welcome. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Welcome."
I got married 2 years ago. But we didn't go on our honeymoon until last year. Yeah. We went to Italy. Yeah. Boy, they are Italian over there. You think you're prepared for it, because, like, it's Italy, and then you're sitting at a cafe in Rome, and the server comes over, and he's like, "Okay, so first of all, we know due spaghetti." And you're sitting there like, "Oh, my God. The racist didn't go far enough this time." We were in Naples. We went to Naples, and in Naples, I saw 3 people riding one Vespa. 2 of them were smoking unfiltered cigarettes, and the third was holding an open bottle of red wine. It was a toddler. It was a toddler holding the wine. In Naples, they use toddlers as cup holders for wine. We went to the Vatican on our trip, which, as a Jew, does feel like a secret mission. I felt like if I made it all the way through without getting detected, I should get to kiss the Pope. And I just like, "Mwah, you didn't find me." He'd probably be cool with it, right? This Pope, isn't it still like the cool Pope right now? Isn't it still? Yeah, the Pope was just like that's his energy. He's like, "Hey, call me Rick. How are ya?" Yeah, like, he doesn't do the big hat. He does a little Catholic yarmulke. That's his energy, right? Kirkland signature robes. That's the Pope. You know who I feel bad for is the next Pope. Because he didn't sign up for all this humble stuff. Right? If he ever wants to go back to full Pope hat strength, he's gonna have to do it gradually, or people are gonna talk. He's gonna have to, every week, wear a slightly bigger hat. He's gonna be in meetings at the Vatican like, "Okay, so first order of business is and one of the cardinals is gonna be like, "Your Holiness, is that a bigger hat?" "No." It's a different hat. It was scary, Italy. A little bit. Because as you're going around the country, you're learning a little bit about its history. And I was reminded that not too long ago, Italy used to be a fascist country. In the 1930s and the 1940s, under Benito Mussolini, they were fascist. And that was crazy to me, because this is also the country that invented the ravioli. And it's just hard to hold those 2 ideas in your head at the same time. Although, I guess if you lived in a country where one person invented something as impactful as the ravioli, you might be more willing to believe that a man could be God. And then I thought about it some more, and I realized something startling. Many of the countries that have given us the finest dumplings on the planet have, at one time or another, succumbed to fascism. Think about it. Russia, dumplings, fascism. Poland, dumplings, fascism. China, in my opinion, the finest dumplings on the planet, but also, occasionally, unfortunately, fascism. So I guess the question that we need to ask ourselves as Americans is, do Hot Pockets count? Because otherwise,
There is someone who I'm trying to emulate, by the way. It's not just like doom and gloom. I have like a hero who has a good time, who I'm trying to follow and learn from. I heard about him from a friend of mine. He's like my cool friend. He goes all around the world going to techno concerts? Recitals, techno recitals. I don't know anything about that. I read big books about the Second World War with different guys. So he goes all to the techno recitals, and he was telling me about a techno venue in Berlin called Berghain, right? Now, Berghain, it's like a 5-story former industrial site, originally very much a sort of gay BDSM techno club, and they've expanded their remit to almost any BDSM. And you can queue up and stuff, but you can't like pay to skip the queue or pay to get in. It's very exclusive in a way money can't buy. It's very trendy, very discerning. Obviously outside there's a guy dressed as a tramp. Oh, I wish I was being fisted by a Hungarian man. Anything to enhance the fun inside. And when you go inside, it's like amazing techno DJs and like people like having sex and doing drugs. It's like the apocalypse in there. And he's telling me all about it, and I've got nothing. Oh, that sounds like Sicily 43. I got nothing. And he says there's a guy who's quite well known, and you meet him in the sort of gents' toilet, right? And what he does is you go in there, and he has sort of tied himself up under the big trough in the loo, yeah? And if you go to the loo for a wee, this guy will ask you in English and German very politely if you wouldn't mind, sir, perhaps considering having a wee on him as well, because it's his favorite. And if you say no, he's like, no worries, you have a good night. You know, it's all very civilized, in context. And he is known colloquially as the Piss Goblin. And you can Google him, Piss Goblin Berlin, as I did, seconds after this conversation finished. And I don't know if there's anyone I currently admire more than the Goblin. I really mean it. Even as my friend was describing the Piss Goblin, I was thinking, now here is a guy with no questions left. This guy knows who he is. This guy knows what he wants. Piss. But it's a big deal to know what you want, isn't it, out of life? There's a lot of people in this room who don't know what they want yet. This guy's got it nailed down. He knows what he wants, and he goes and he gets it. Even if you're sitting here and you know what you want, have you got it yet? The Goblin has. The Piss Goblin knows what he wants. He goes and he gets it. Where does he get it? Somewhere he is safe and known and accepted for who he is. There's no one in this room as fulfilled as the Piss Goblin. He's the freest man I know, and he's chained to a urinal. I can't imagine the inner strength it gives him, knowing that all that stuff's just figured out. He's out there now, some regional German civil servant. He's filling in report after report into Autobahn maintenance, you know. His boss is a real dick. Wo sind diese Berichte? Schnell! And he's like, I'm doing them, my God! Oh, Roll on, Freitag. Oh. Lieben für das Weekend, recht? Ja.
My son hates reading. Reading's boring, is what I tell him. I want to read. I try, I can never take in the words. I think I'm dyslexic, but I'm scared to get tested in case I'm not. I could never concentrate at school. I used to get kicked out of class all the time. I got suspended from school. I got caught smoking weed. 14 years of age. Me think me be a ganja man. Ganja man, skin up some fat reefer. Ganja man go house party. Ganja man spark up, take huge talk like he be Bob Marley. Ganja man pull a whitey and think he gonna die. Ganja man be rushed to high and he. Ganja man crying like a little baby. Ganja man given mug of hot chocolate by staff nurse. Ganja man grounded for 3 weeks. At home he become masturbation man. Nearly end up in hospital again with his new friend Henry the Hoover.
We had a boy since we had him. We started keeping across world affairs, keeping kind of tabs on politics and what's happening in the world, because we want to know what kind of world we've brought our little boy into. And I've looked into some stuff, and listen, I've got to tell you, Putin, not my cup of tea. I do not like that guy's vibe at all. I'm sorry to use this language. I'm going to use the word toxic. No, we've got to call it out, lads, when we see it, actually. And we've got to stop him. We've got to stop Putin. I really believe this. I saw a graphic, right? It showed a map of the UK. It showed that if Putin dropped a bomb on London, that the blast would reach up as far as the Midlands, where we live. And I saw that and I was like, fuck. We've got to do something. Because I am not taking in Cockney refugees. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm not. I've got a spare room. If a Ukrainian family need it, they can have it. I'm not having some prick from Shoreditch moving in with me. Tell me I'm making coffees wrong. I'm not having it. Grown men skateboarding across the border. No, get off that. Get off. Disembark, for God's sake. I pray it doesn't come to that. Man, I could never be in the army. I'd be bloody rubbish in the army. I couldn't even be in the army reserves. Whatever they do. Army reserves, I think they fight against the smaller nations midweek. I think that's what they do. I think the gaffer comes in, he's like, listen lads, it's a big one, we've got Afghanistan away on Saturday. I'm going to rest you lads. I'm going to bring some civil servants in for San Marino on Tuesday. I think that's how it works.
One of the biggest triggers, though, for people like me and my fairly unique condition of living beyond my means with no sense of recourse is, of course, the humble upsell in a shop. I can't resist this. It's predatory behaviour that this still exists, and I've campaigned against it, but it's still there. But it's to a point now where I don't go into shops if I can avoid it, but sometimes it's inevitable. I went down to the petrol station to get some petrol, right, obviously, and I filled up the car and I looked across and some gutless wonder had done a jet snot on that keypad at the pay of the Bowser machine. It's like, oh shit, I can't touch that. That's disgusting. I'm going to have to go inside and speak to another human like a rusty old dinosaur. Pay for my fuel inside the shop. Yuck. But I went in there, right, into the shop and I walked up the counter. First thing I saw was this big bucket of hockey straps right next to the counter. Really good quality, $5 a pop. So, yes, please. Didn't know I wanted one, but I'm going to have one of them. I'll have the yellow one with a black and blue fleck through it. Thank you very much. And for anyone here who doesn't know what an hockey strap is, maybe a foreigner has snuck in without my knowledge. An hockey strap, it's a length of elastic with a metal hook at each end that dads used to use on Boxing Day to strap shit to the roofs of their cars while yelling at the kids. Sometimes, pre-nanny state, shopping trolley collectors would use one to remove an eyeball. Back when men were men, I wouldn't have had to explain that. But we're here now, aren't we? Anyway, there it was. Big bucket of hockey straps, $5. I said, yes, please, I'll have one of them. And the slinky little opportunist behind the counter, he's seen me coming, the predator. He said, look, you could get one for $5, or you could get 3 for 10. You should get 3 for 10, man. It just makes sense. You never know when you need an extra hockey strap. You should get 3 for 10. But I held strong. I said, look, rack off, you fucking crumb. I'm not in the market for 3 hockey straps. I only want one. And how dare you tell me what does and doesn't make sense? You got some neck. I'm just going to have the one hockey strap, thanks, and the petrol. Thanks very much. God bless and have a nice day. And then just got on with my business. So then this is what happened to me afterwards, Rod. I used to work with this guy. I knew him, and he was a genius. And the bar has been lowered on genius, don't worry. There was a time when to be a genius, you'd have to do something quite noteworthy with your brain. Not anymore. Now you can just set up a power tool to do something it wasn't designed for. And all your dickhead mates will look at you at lunchtime, sit down and lop the top off your tin of tuna with an angle grinder and call you a fucking genius. It's insane. This is when I knew things had changed, right? Some workmates and I go down to the beach in the morning before work for a dip. And in the winter months, it gets a bit frisky, making it more of a challenge to go to the toilet in the ocean. So I started before going in. I just sit on the beach and just pee in my shorts and then go in. And for deliberately wetting myself, my boss called me a genius. That's when I knew the goalpost had shifted somewhat in terms of what constitutes a genius. But this particular genius, right, he's one of those extra fridge in the garage alcoholics. Like a proper worm to the tomb polluter. And he'd set up a 4th television in his house so he could watch the cricket while he's on the toot and never miss a ball. And all his mates, they catalogued that 4th television thing as an act of genius. That's insane. And this pube on the soap's name was... His name was Wayne. So it's like already Wayne, which is a ticking time bomb to death by misadventure. His parents had looked down on him as a baby in the hospital and thought, how do we knock 30 plus years life expectancy off our beautiful, healthy baby boy Wayne? I know. Give me a pen and the birth certificate, I'll sort it out right now. Put an extra Y in the end. And like a lot of premature death candidates, an extra Y somewhere in the name will do the job. And then the clock was ticking on Wayne's life. And it gets said a lot about tortured artistic geniuses that they often die in their 20s, but then so too do alcoholic car enthusiasts. And Wayne was no different. When he was a tender 29 years old, Jesus wanted Wayne for a sunbeam. Wayne went off to be with the Lord very soon after his de facto had taken off with the dog and the car in one hit, causing all his friends to say that Wayne died of a broken heart. Although the coroner did suggest that a drunken high-speed quad bike ride on a dirt road at midnight with no lights or helmet were contributing factors.
We should probably talk about mental health. Yeah. Somebody's got to. I got it up to the eyeballs. I had a breakdown recently. I had to take myself to the doctor. I was like, Doc, you've got to help me, it's getting too much. I can't tell the difference between Channel 4+1 and Channel 5 anymore. You've got to do something. She gave me the once-over and she goes, you've got OCD. It's giving OCD is what she said. Do you know about OCD? OCD, if you don't know, it's when you sort of like tidy up too much because you think it'll make your dad come home. Okay, couple of hands to foreheads for that gag. I'm afraid if that's your threshold for upset, you're in for an extremely fucking tedious hour. You don't have to worry about it though. That was all right. That was just a joke about my dad. My dad was around when I was a kid. I just only got to see him on weekends. My parents weren't split up. I was just busy. The doctor also told me I got something called body dysmorphia, which is when you're like fit but humble about it. And it's kind of an awesome mental illness to have. Because all the other mental illnesses are like, yeah, I've got voices in my head, I can't tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. My mental illness is that I can't comprehend how gorgeous I truly am. It's a pretty nice one to have. It's my amygdala, did you know that? That's what it is. It's my amygdala, that's why... You know the amygdala? Yeah, well, it's right next door to the hippocampus. Best mates. Well, the amygdala, it's the slice of your brain that processes complex emotions, right? And they did a scan of loads of people like me, and everyone's amygdala's too big, and they think that's why we're like that. Which is strange to me, because it's the bit that does emotion, so you'd think it would be good if it was a bit big, but apparently it's a catastrophe. It's like, you know, you hear about those people whose tits are so big that they have a bad back. That's what's going on in my head. The love and punchlines bit of my brain is so fucking chesty that the suicide prevention bit has scoliosis. I'm a danger to myself and others because of my busty little minx of a brain. Sometimes, if you ever do material about mental illness or whatever, sometimes people come up to you after the show and they're like, oh, are you okay, is that... Which is crazy to me. It's like watching a Batman film and going, oh, I hope Gotham's all right. It's not real. It's real, man. And it's going to get increasingly real for you. I've been trying to fix myself. I've been teaching myself therapy speak on Duolingo. I'm not fluent. I know just about enough to gaslight a waiter. They're demanding I pay the bill. I'm staring at my phone going, I don't owe anyone anything. Because the thing is, there's lots of mental health lingo floating around at the moment, and I don't speak it. You know, everyone's talking about mental health, but it's all in a very superficial way. You know, it's all aphorisms and platitudes and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's okay not to be okay. Talk to someone. Everyone's fucking desperate for me to talk to someone until I'm like, can I talk to you? And they're like, fuck off. No, obviously not. I'll genuinely kill you if you try and talk to me. Especially with OCD, because everybody thinks they know what they're in for with OCD. They're like, oh, you're sad because you can't stop washing your hands. Wrong. Every time I get an Uber, my mind is like, you should kiss the driver. Why don't you lean forward and tenderly kiss the Uber driver? Why don't you search his mouth like an anteater? I don't think I want to do that, yeah. I've got a bright idea. Why don't you flick your lit cigarette into that busker's guitar case? Yeah, I could do, yeah. I heard an amazing piece of superficial mental health speak recently. It was amazing. I went to one of those group therapy sessions because if you don't know, if you want to get your mental health, if you want to get mental health treatment on the National Health Service, that's actually not allowed. So what they do if you're in genuine need of therapy is they go into the waiting room and they scoop you all up in a big net and they make you do it in a group. It's kind of like the actors' round table for schizophrenics. And I went to one of these group therapy sessions and the guy next to me told us all that he was in suicide recovery. Isn't that amazing? I was like, oh. Famously hard to recover from, I thought. And here I thought that was sort of the whole promise of the thing. Kurt Cobain turning up to band practice 2 days late. Tape all round his head. No, I'm sorry, I'm sort of in recovery now, boys. Sorry about all that. I'm in recovery. I realised I had a fatal addiction to launching my head into space with a gun. And I'm in recovery from that. I'm very interested in that kind of, that instinct to use obscurative language. Here's an example. I was reading my local paper recently and there was an article about a man in my area who died in a car crash. You know, sad, I know people who've died in car crashes, but it was quite confusing because the article didn't say that he died in the car crash. It said he passed away in the car crash. That can't be true. You know, so that's a misprint or maybe journalistic malpractice. I couldn't imagine a world where this guy had passed away in a car crash. As if he paused the car crash, lived a full and fruitful life, and then resumed it when he was at peace with the idea of being sent to the moon by a lorry. You remember that little submarine? None of them passed away, did they? You don't gently relinquish your hold on this mortal coil when your body is turned into a red cloud at the speed of light. There wasn't a quote from his widow that was like, yeah, my husband has passed away peacefully, surrounded by family, after a brief battle with a car. But I understand the importance of language like that, you know, the function of it. It's important to lie to yourself sometimes. I do it all the time, especially with regards to my health, you know. I'll have 15 pints a night for 8 months in a row and then be like, I think I have long COVID. Something's going on with me, you know. I'm cutting about going, yeah, I think the reason I am how I am is because nobody ever taught me how to put myself first. And it's like, no, the vapes are full of lead. That's why. I'm like, actually, my brain holds too many emotions. No, I've been taking 1,000 puffs on a lead-filled pipe every day for 10 years. A lead pipe. I've been smoking the shit that killed Colonel Mustard. 10 years, and that's why I'm like wondering why I'm fucking mentally ill. Hey, speaking of psychosis, have you ever noticed how the plots of all the Disney Pixar movies are very similar to textbook psychosis delusions? I reckon they got a guy in the Pixar writer's room who's fucking tapped in the head, but he can't quit because his ideas for kids' films are all bangers. Like, they're all in the canteen having some lunch, throwing ideas around. It's all dog shit, but they get to him and he's like, oh, I can't eat this meal. I think a rat cooked this. Say that again. Coming into the office all sad. Yeah, I think my wife's cheating on me with a bee. I'm thinking of, you know, everyone says that you've got to like upskill, like learn to code or something. I'm thinking of reskilling as a guide dog. Mainly for the uniform. You've seen those sexy little vests they got? Those slutty little harnesses they make guide dogs wear. I'd love one of those. You'd respect me if I was wearing one of those. An outfit that says, I'd love to stop and sniff your ass, but I'm on the job. I'm dedicated to my work. God, I'd be such a brilliant guide dog, you know. I'd be chatty like a cab driver. That would be like my thing. You know, like, it hooks me up to the lead, and I'm like, all right, boss, where are we going today? Don't worry, I'll be your eyes and ears. He's like, just eyes is fine. I love seeing a guide dog, because they're the embodiment of like dutiful solemnity. Do you know what I mean? They stick by their person through thick and thin. Other dogs, they try and distract them, play with them, have fun. Guide dogs not having it. Have you seen this? Other dogs do to guide dogs what we do to the guards outside Buckingham Palace. But they're like that. They're not having it. Do you not think it's a bit heartbreaking sometimes when you see a guide dog? Because what? They're like a Labrador or a Golden Retriever or something. That's what they are, right? Famously like the happiest looking dog. But a guide dog's got such a straight face. You're like, wow, you must take your job really seriously. Do you know what I mean? I understand it because it's a hard job to have for a dog. It's a tough life being a guide dog. Your owner has the best stick in the world, but it's the one stick they're never going to throw. Imagine you're a dog and your owner has that stick and they never throw it. You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's why they look so serious. Every day they wake up straight in their vest, look in the mirror and go, today's the day that thing goes flying. You believe it. Oh, man. I think mental health care has really gone downhill since the 1800s. Do you know what I mean? They used to put you in a big soft hotel with all your friends. Now you have to have like an emotional support animal, like a therapy pet, which is rubbish. It sucks. It's like, oh, you're suicidal. Would it help if we let you take a dog on the plane? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't get myself out of bed in the mornings, but I'll try getting a dog through airport security. See if that helps somehow. But then experience in this magical world, it kills the cynic in all of us eventually, doesn't it? Well, I'm saying I got one of like a therapy pet and it changed my life. I got a therapy ant. That's right, I'm an ant mum. And but the government, they're going to take my ant away because the breed I have, it's called an American Ant XL. Size of this cunt you would not believe. 8 seats he takes up on the plane. And the government, they're going to confiscate my ant because they say that my breed of ant is responsible for over 90% of cases of toddlers being stolen from a picnic. Can you believe that? Not my Brutus. You just have to get to know him. Like foaming at the mandibles.
The problem with English people is that they think they're factory default. You know what I mean? They're like, there's English, and then everybody else is so weird. That's because you grow up with English people, you don't know anything different, and they're on TV, you just think that's normal. When you've never met English people before and you meet them for the first time, I'm here to tell you that you guys are fucking freaks. You're spooky, and I'm done pretending I enjoy your company, right? What are you on about ever? And I moved to London at the age of 18 to study classical music at a music college. So I met the Englishest of English people of all time. Like if you cross Benedict Cumberbatch with a crumpet, like that's who I was dealing with. I remember moving over. I was very, very stressed, very upset about moving away from Belfast and moving in with all these English people. I was unpacking in residential halls and my mum was there and she was trying to talk me down from this emotional height. She was like, listen, Vittorio, they're not all bastards. They just talk like that. I was like, no, they're fucking dickheads, man. They think I'm drunk, they think I'm lazy, they think I'm stupid just because of my accent. I'm fucking sick of English people. It's day one in England and I've got them sussed. I'm sick of it. I want to go home. She was like, no, they don't think any of those things. You're being silly. You're just getting stressed about moving away and you're trying to come up with excuses to get away with it. You're stressed about moving away. You're coming up with excuses, right? I was like, oh, fuck's sake. She was like, you've got 6 new flatmates. I'm sure they're lovely. Go into the kitchen, introduce yourself, give them a chance. I was like, okay, I'll give them a chance. Went down to the kitchen, introduced myself, and first person I met was a girl called Eva. And Eva was one of my flatmates in first year. And she studied at a secondary school called the Purcell School, which is a specialist music secondary school. There's a few of them around the country. And most people that go to specialist music secondary schools end up at music college. So it's not like normal unis, where everyone arrives, you're all strangers, you're just trying to figure out what your friendship group's going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. They arrive in pre-made cliques with the dorkiest in-jokes you've ever heard in your whole life, and you have to just pretend it's cool when you arrive. I walked in, I was like, oh, Eva, what should we do tonight? And she went, I tell you what we should do. We should play this game that we played at the Purcell School. It's a drinking game where you listen to Mozart. And you drink every time it changes key. I was like, or we could all jump out the window. Because that sounds equally fun to me. I didn't actually say that. I didn't say anything. I just stood up, left the kitchen, phoned my mum, like, you lied, they're all bastards, actually. She was like, no, you just met a weird one. Go down to the bar. It's the first night of Freshers Week. Give them another chance. Introduce yourself to English people. It's like, okay, I'll give them another chance. Went down to the bar, tried to introduce myself to English people, tried to give them a chance. Walked up to an English guy. I was like, all right, mate, what's the crack? That was a mistake. Because when you say, what's the crack to English people, you guys freak out. You do this double take that's also like something out of the film Predator. I'm like, what's the crack? And they're like, oh my God. Are you Irish? Oh my God. I'm Irish? Because you don't want to say, no, you're not. Because obviously I live in England, and if and when I have kids, they'll probably have English accents. See if they ever come up to me like, oh, Daddy, I'm English. I'll kick them in the face. So I get it. But you keep going through, you find out all these mad English traditions. They're like, oh my God, it's bonfire night. I'm like, what's bonfire night? Because we don't have bonfire night in Belfast. We do. It's just not in November. And it's a different vibe, I think. I think Ross Kemp goes to your one slightly less often. So I was like, what's bonfire night? They're like, oh my God, it's great. We have fireworks. I'm like, why do you have fireworks? So there was this guy, cold guy, and he tried to blow up Parliament. So every year we're like, woohoo! because we killed him. What? No, listen, no. All I'm saying is I'm from Belfast. If you're putting on celebrations for people trying to blow up London, when's my night? They find out you're from Belfast, they always ask the same question, like, oh my God, you're from Belfast. What is all the fuss about? Fuss is an interesting word to use for civil war. No, what is the difference between Catholics and Protestants? I'm like, Protestants, icebreakers? No. Because they're natural predators. Realistically, it all comes down to transubstantiation. If you don't know what that means, basically means the Catholics genuinely believe that the bread and wine turns into the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And Protestants genuinely believe that Rangers are going to win the league. But I like English people sometimes. I think English people make me laugh quite a lot. Past 5 or 6 years, English people have really started making me laugh. They started saying a really funny thing. In the past 5 or 6 years, English people have started complaining about living in a divided country. Did I not say that right? That is hysterical. It's so difficult living in such a divided country. Do you know what you guys did? Everywhere? Do you know how many whatever the fuckistans there are? You went round the world drawing random lines through everyone else's country and you have one referendum. You're like, this is tricky. This is tricky.
But I don't judge my life based on material possessions, mainly because I don't really have access to them. I judge my life based on achievements and milestones. Like, I don't mean to brag, but a little while ago, I hit the big time. I married an American, which is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, according to Americans. They are so excited for me. Like, wow, you married an American. Your parents must be so proud. I'm like, they're a little concerned. They're worried about me. No, you could be an American now. Don't you want to be an American? Pew, pew, pew. I'm like, calm down. Okay, I don't have the confidence to be an American. I'm not qualified. Americans are confident people. Like, I was in America and I wanted to go to some fine dining restaurant, so I turned up at Pizza Hut. And a guy was coming outside and he held the door open for me. He said, "After you, big dog." I'm 5'7". I've never been called big dog in my life. I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, come on through, big dog. I'm like, stop it. No, it's not me. I'm a little dog. Stop it. Get out of here. I'm not even a big, I don't even have a tail. Stop it. He's like, come on through, and he gave me a fist bump. And oh, that confidence was contagious. All of a sudden, I felt that American confidence, and I felt 6 foot tall. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am a big dog. I felt so confident. I walked into that Pizza Hut. I bought a family meal. That's how excited I was. My father-in-law was so pumped for me when I married his daughter. As a wedding gift, he bought me a Costco membership. That's a dowry in the state of Kentucky. It's like, that's a Costco membership. You can go to any Costco around the world. I'm like, why would I go to Costco when I'm overseas? You can get the best bagels in Costco. You got to buy 3,000, but they're the best bagels. You can get the best red wine from Italy in Costco. It's from a region in Italy called Kirkland, Italy. Best Italian wines. You can get a coffin in Costco. And when I die, I want you to put me in that coffin, leave me in Costco, because that's my idea of heaven, amen. I'm like, mate, wait till you discover Aldi. You're going to have a great time. No membership needed. I've tried to live in America. It's hard to get onto the American system, right? They're very protective of their system. I went to get a phone number, asked for a SIM card, and they said, "Sir, sir, you can't get an American phone number until you have an American bank account. I'm like, no worries. So I went to the most American bank possible. I went to Bank of America. And they said, sir, you can't get an American bank account until you have a social security number first. I'm like, no worries. Went to the social security office. They're like, sir, you can't get a social security number until you have an American phone number. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone. So I went to Walmart, bought a gun, no documents needed. Very easy. Americans also don't expect me when they hear Australian man. They think like alpha man, right? They think like Hugh Jackman and Chris Hemsworth and the dad from Bluey. Just proper alpha dogs. Now, I don't want to shock anyone, but I am not an alpha male. Don't argue. I'm not an alpha male. But I know how to find one. If you ever need an alpha male for any reason, it's very easy. All you have to do is find like an extension lead or a cable or a cord. And all you have to do is start to try to coil it. And what will happen is an alpha male will appear out of nowhere and tell you you're doing it wrong. That's not how you bloody coil it, mate. You gotta let the cable do the work. You follow the... If you really want to piss them off, you start doing it around your elbow. They'll have a conniption like, that's not how you bloody do it, mate. You're gonna break the cable. And they turn into a car. I don't feel the need to be an alpha male, by the way. I feel like I've fulfilled my biological duty because a few months ago, my wonderful wife, Lucy, gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Cannot wait to find out who the father is. I am so excited. I'm pretty sure it's me because, statistically speaking, millennials have less affairs than other generations. Isn't that cool? I don't think it's an ethical thing. I think we just delete the apps and we don't know where to meet people. That's... Honestly, if my wife has an affair, it's going to have to be on Facebook Marketplace. Like, she buys another couch, I'll get suspicious. If you have an affair on Facebook Marketplace, you don't even have to change the messages. You could just be like, still available? Someone already came. That's so easy. I also think, older generations are looking at us millennials not having affairs and they're just thinking, oh, no one wants to work anymore. That's the problem. They're not getting out there. The other reason that my wife and I don't have affairs, I think, is because we're dorks and no one really hits on us. Like, a big night out for us is staying at home, playing Uno. And a really big night is we play Uno Flip. Oh, have you heard of Uno Flip? It's Uno on one side of the cards, then you flip them. Completely different game of Uno on the back. And you just spend the whole night flipping back and forth. Damn. That's the closest thing to swinging we'll ever get. That is... the speed we're at. Here's an example of my wife and I being dorks. We were on our honeymoon in Greece. We went down to the beach and Lucy put on a adorable bikini, went for a swim. I stayed on the shore to protect my sandcastles. And as she's swimming in the crystal clear Greek waters, I got worried because I'm like, no, these Greek Adonises with their beach bods are going to hit on her. I can't compete with that. They're going to steal her away from me. And as she's swimming, looking so gorgeous, she just looks at me and goes, hey, babe, I'm a seal. I'm like, our marriage is safe. We're going to be okay. That was the night she got pregnant, I think. I love SeaWorld. What can I say? I'm very proud of her for going through pregnancy, by the way. Oh my goodness, it made me realise how much I've underappreciated mothers. Now, I don't mean to pander, but let's be honest, Mother's Day and Father's Day should not be equal things. Mother's Day is like you grew a whole human inside yourself and squeezed it into existence. Father's Day is like, and you were very helpful too. Mother's Day should be the full day. Father's Day, 7 to 10 minutes max. No longer than it took to become a father. Maybe 20 to 30 for some of you. I don't know what stamina you're working with. It's an exciting time having a kid. A lot of people are excited to ask you questions like, oh my God, do you know what you're having? Do you know what you're having? I'm like, yeah, financial burden. Oh my God, it's insane. Like, I read that by the time a kid is 18, they'll cost you $1 million. Now, Lucy and I did the budget. We got to cut him off at 4. We're not getting that far. Like, I don't know if I can provide for him. Here's what I think, right? If you ever read an autobiography of a great person in history, it always starts the same. Like, we didn't have much growing up. That's what I can provide for him. A rags to riches story. Some adversity. It's crazy expensive, even a babysitter. Some of them are $40 an hour. You go out for 4 hours, that's $160. That's insane, right? I'm trying to be thrifty. I'm looking up return flights to Adelaide, $70 on Jetstar. Perfect. I'll put him on the plane, have our night out, pick him up on the way through. He gets frequent flyer miles. That's his inheritance. That's how you got to do it. There's a lot of pressure on pregnant women as well. When Lucy was pregnant, all her girlfriends asked, babe, when you're in labour, are you going to have the epidural or are you going to have a natural birth? No, don't you want to have a natural birth? Like, ladies, if you want to have one, power to you, but don't put pressure on other women. You don't find out someone's going to the dentist and go, oh, you're going to have the painkillers or you're going to have a natural root canal? No, don't you want to feel connected to your tooth? Don't you want the full root canal experience? My wife requested the epidural the day she found out she was pregnant. She's like, you plug that thing in, leave it in there till he graduates high school. I want to buzz the whole way through. People give you advice as well. All my male friends, my proper, men friends, gave me a lot of man advice. They couldn't even say pregnancy terms, by the way. They couldn't say pregnant or labour or birth. They had to use man terms like, oh, so I heard Lucy's up the duff. She must be in the drop zone. How long till launch? Hey, we're not working on a spaceship. But their advice was like, mate, your responsibility as a dad is just to work. Work all day, every day, for the rest of your life. If you never see your family, that's ideal. I'm like, oh my God. My cool inner city hippie friends are the opposite. Like, just so wild about it. They're like, oh my God, Simon, birth's amazing. Have you got enough crystals? I'm like, yeah, I got enough crystals. How many? None. I think that's enough. No, birth's amazing. You got to get right up in there. It's so beautiful. You know what you should do? You know what would be amazing? You, when the baby's born, you should eat the placenta. I'm like, wait, why would I eat the placenta? It's full of nutrients. I'll have a muesli bar. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not going to get back into eating meat starting with a placenta. I'm going to try fish and work my way up to cannibalism. Let's all calm down.
I think the more you have, the less that you want to fight. Take the Scots, poorest community in the UK. Haven't checked, but that sounds right. Who are some of the best soldiers in the British Army? Scottish ones, because they got nothing to live for. During war, their life expectancy goes up. Taking the mick out the Scots a lot. I need to say at this moment, I owe my life to the Scottish people. My grandma, Jewish lady, she escaped from Germany in 1939, and she found refuge in Scotland. And I'm not saying Glasgow is a bad place to live. But 9 years later, she moved back to Germany. So I'm from a family of immigrants, you see. So mum's family kicked out of Germany by Nazis. Dad's family kicked out of Russia by pogroms. Wife's family kicked out of Wales by community support officers. My grandma was a tough lady. I remember I just turned 6 and she took me to one side. She said, Simon, be careful. People will always hate the Jews. And I remember thinking so clearly, why can't you just say happy birthday?
I do admire racists in Northern Ireland. It's good to have heroes, no? just admire people that have tough jobs. That's a tough job. Being a racist in Northern Ireland, it's such a white place that they have nowhere to put their racism. So they saw my slightly tan dad and were like, that'll do, we're in, we're doing it. It's such a white... Northern Ireland is such a white place. And people don't believe me. It fucking is. It's... Just ask Liam Neeson. If you don't remember what I'm talking about, Liam Neeson, on TV, in an interview, decided to tell a little story. He told the story about how his friend had been assaulted by a black man in Northern Ireland. And in his very Liam Neeson way, he went, so I got a bat. And I walked through the streets of Northern Ireland for 2 weeks trying to find some black bastard to beat the shit out of. Liam Neeson tried to find a black guy to beat up for 2 weeks and couldn't. That's incredible. And he just ran out of racism. After 2 weeks, he was like, they're fine, I guess. Because he had no one to be racist to. And I think that's the solution to racism. Just get rid of them. No, you can't clap that, actually. Please don't.
Oh, man, I love to smoke joints, but I've had to quit it for the sake of my job because my memory was getting so bad, I had to Google the phrase double bike because I no longer knew the word for tandem. I've been smoking heavily for like a year, and I was like, all that stuff about memories is just government conspiracy theories. And then I went to say the name of I've been going out with the same person for 8 years, so I know his name, right? His name's Connor. I went to say his name, and I thought, is this cunt even called Connor? Who knows? Just act confident. See, when I was growing up, whenever I saw Scottish comedy on telly, it seemed to rely on slagging off Scotland, and it was a kind of shtick that was like, oh, aren't we all just fat, illiterate bastards eating chips out of bin? That's what it was, right? I don't like slagging off Scotland. I'm not comfortable with it, apart from one crucial thing, and that is the world of Scottish amateur pornography. Which I made the terrible mistake of watching. This is a real category of porn. I'm not making it up for the show. Don't watch it. But a lot of you are drinking. You see? He's cheersing. He's seen it. Scottish porn's the most depressing porn I've ever seen. Comes a close second to Russian porn, and at least in that they're skinny, but it's in that bleak, we did this for a piece of bread kind of way. I've watched literally every Scottish porn on the internet for the purposes of this show. Some of the clips, you're like, how can I even tell these people are Scottish? There's not much dialogue. Let me tell you, I knew. With a depressing inevitability, I knew my own people. Because it was just pale, hairy white bellies smashing against each other in close up like water balloons filled with yoghurt. Every few seconds, a wee voice off camera would go, oh, aye. Or memorably, tug on my pubes, Rona! I clicked on this Pornhub clip. It said, Scottish girl fucked in London. When I put it on, literally just footage of me paying £1,000 a month to live in a basement. And I watch, like, amateur stuff rather than slickly shot professional stuff because it's more ethical. That's what a hipster am. It's more ethical. What they lack in muscle tone or symmetrical facial features, they make up for with a large degree of enthusiasm. You know what I mean. I can see who watches it, yeah. I've had to stop watching it and go back to the professional stuff. I'll tell you why. Firstly, can't control the soundtracks in people's homemade sex tapes. I had to turn off someone's amateur porno because they were playing the song Everybody's Changing by Keane in the background. Oh, which will come first, climax or me killing myself? Here's another thing. I don't judge any of you if you want to make a sex tape, but for the love of God, would you lock up the pets beforehand? You know the number of times I've just sadly closed my laptop during a porno? Because there's been a couple pumping away in the foreground, really happy, really oblivious to just the sight of their proud cat sauntering in the background. Meow! This is my time to shine! I put one on the other day. It had a couple were just dry humping American college amateurs, and in the background there was just a sad little Yorkshire Terrier. Dogs are pure innocence and goodness, just looking at them like, please take me a walk. I watch lesbian porn, mostly because straight porn is largely made for straight men, so it'll have these blowjob scenes that go on for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. Well, why don't I just watch someone file a tax return?
I don't know what it is about old people getting scammed. They just get scammed. Constantly. For some reason, when they fucking get that call, hello, hello, this is the president of the world. Oh, hello, Mr. President. Thank you for calling me. I'll send my credit card immediately. I must. Thank you. You ever been hacked? Ever been hacked and sent everyone you know and love porn? Ever done that? My auntie, Janice, she got a porn from me. She got porn link. She thinks I sent it to her. She thinks I sent that to her. XXX porn, fuck now! Oh, Damien sent an email. It's unbelievable. Can't believe. She thinks I sent that to her. We can't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't bring it up. I can't double down and pretend I sent it on purpose. Sculpt her and go, hey, what's up, Janice? Fucking, you see that video I sent you or what? It's off the hook. Oh, yeah, she got rammed, yeah. She thinks I sent that to her. I know she saw it too. She fucking acts weird now. She's like, hello. She won't look at me. Hello. Hello, Damien. Good to see you. Hello. Hello. Fucking, I can see the gangbang. I can fucking see it in the eyes. That's a very unique humiliation to our time. That's a very unique humiliation to think that I sent that. Do you know how hard it would be to get that humiliated before the internet? Someone would have to dress up as you and pretend fully to be you and go door to door to your closest friends and family, like, hello, Grandma? Yeah, sure is. It's Grandma, it's your grandson, Damien Power. Oh, Damien, what are you doing here? A college slut's looking to fuck. What? What are you talking about? Ray-Bans 50% off. Grandma. There's MILFs in your area, Grandma. There's MILFs. No, the MILFs are back. I like MILFs in your area because it implies they migrate.
This mechanic, he kept saying the word roughly, right? He's like, it's roughly quite a big job. It's roughly going to take 1 to 2 days. Like, he kept saying the word roughly, and he got so in the habit of saying it that he started saying it when he was asking for my details. He was like, roughly, what's your phone number? I'm like, if you want a ballpark, it's about $500 million.
And I have to say, and I don't really know how to reveal this, but I've got a few kids, they're all fucking boring. I know, none of them drink, none of them take drugs. Where have I gone wrong? And I think what's happened is they've rebelled. You know, kids rebel against their parents' culture. That's all right if your parents are conservative, straight and boring. They've rebelled against my having it large culture. Yeah. So you know at Christmas when you get a bit of cocaine in, right? Even if I haven't had any throughout the year, get a little bit at Christmas. It's like a family tradition now. Get a bit of bootros in, as we call it, bootros Garley Charlie. So at Christmas, my kids come round, they're all grown up, they bring their kids, I'm the granddad. I have to go into the bathroom of my own fucking house to do my Charlie in secret. But last year, even I thought I might be getting a bit too old for this shit. I looked down, I was actually chopping up my Charlie with my senior citizens rail card. I know. You see how boring my kids are? One of my daughters, she's fantastic. You know, I don't know, you have you have hopes and dreams for your kids, and they don't always see them through. I wanted her to be in a band, or be a sort of punk poet, or run a left-wing bookshop. She's in digital fucking marketing. But this is how boring she is. She phoned me up, this was during lockdown actually, so she was a bit younger, and she brought up the subject of drugs. And she went, Dad, I went, yeah, she went, you know cocaine? I went, of course I do, my darling. Why do you think you've always lived in rented accommodation? And she said, what's it like? What do you mean? What's it like? She went, when you take it, how does it make you feel? I went, no, I know what what's it like means. What I don't understand is why someone in their 20s is asking someone in their 60s what cocaine's like. I've got to tell you, my darling, you've turned out to be a real fucking disappointment.
But we hate that fly. Remember the fly? Because it's just hovering over the cupcake, making it all disgusting. It does nothing. It's unemployed. Love the bee, though. Yeah? Because it's out there, pollinating jacarandas. Fly in, fly out. FIFO. It's a fly in high-vis. Now, if flies started cleaning up dog shit as opposed to hovering over it, we'd start respecting them and it'd be illegal to spray them. The only difference between animal cruelty and pest control is the work ethic of the insect. And you know the insect known as the wasp? I'm not talking about white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I'll be explaining the subtext as we go along. I'm talking about the insect. It's got all the unemployment of the fly and all the violence of the bee, just in the worst corporate merger of all time. It's just... A wasp is like that construction worker that's been sacked, but they're still hanging around. Just, yeah, I used to work for Rio Tinto. But you think of all these creatures. You think of the bee. They've got a hive. That's nice. Bit of community. Even the wasp, as debauched a creature as it is, still has a nest. More of a share house turned into a meth lab vibe, but nonetheless, a community. Then you look at the fly, no headquarters. Freelancing, they're sole traders. Air tasker, doing tasks in the air. There's a piece of dog shit on Kent Street. Get to it, boys. They're all just knocking each other out of the way. There's no camaraderie. And if they die in transit, no one investigates. Like a Deliveroo. But yeah, so that's... But it's weird.
I think a lot of it is society's fault. By the way, can I recommend the next time you're worried about a personal flaw, just blame society. It feels good, because not only do you get to seem like clever and insightful, you also just get away with whatever's wrong with you. I think you'll find it's society's fault my house smells like this. Good day. But I do think I have a point, because hyperbole is everywhere now. It's the only language we seem to have. I mean, is Gen Z in? Gen Z? You're pretty young. I'm guessing because the light's in my face and people moisturize. I can't tell. I've looked like this since I was fucking 11. I don't know. You must be Gen Z, right? I've been on TikTok. I've seen what you guys are up to. And I don't like it. There's a comment on TikTok that the Gen Zers, they leave it under videos they like, whatever, a dog opens a jar. And the comment is, I'm throwing up, I'm crying, I'm dead. That's a stock phrase. I'm throwing up, I'm crying, I'm dead. It's not an appropriate response to anything, is it? Apart from Ebola. Fair enough, Ebola. But a dog opening a jar, no. And hyperbole is everywhere now. Like those reviews I mentioned earlier, like movie posters for theatre, musical. The reviews don't even make sense to me on those. I'll be in like the London Underground, say, and they got those big posters for the West End shows, and the quotes at the bottom will be like, "This show left my sense of place in the universe shattered." And you go, oh my God. You read the next quote and it's like, "I was sick into my lap. 5 stars. You're like, what show is this? I must know. And you look up at the title and it's a regional tour of Greece. And you just think, that can't be for that. That's not for that, is it? How could it possibly be? And it's all over comedy as well. There's a figure in comedy who is the worst for what you might call performative hyperbole, and I really hate him a lot. It's the cry laughing emoji. I really hate that guy. You don't need to worry about him. On TikTok, the young people, when something's funny, they use the skull emoji because, as I mentioned, they are dead. But the rest of us old fucks are stuck with the cry-laughing man. You know, with little tears coming out the eyes. And the reason I hate the cry-laughing emoji is because I need him. I need him. If you cover your online video in cry-laughing emojis, people click on it like 1,000 times more. It's depressing, but it's true. And it's all about views. If you have a big enough number of views, TV producers, they're too busy and afraid to try and pick a guy on their own, so they just go, big number, let's have him on, right? That's how it works now. So we need views, so we need the cry laughing emoji. That's what the business is. It's all just online fucking. It's not like the old days. I know comedians from the 80s and 90s, and it sounds better. Just back then, you go to the terrifying pub, you go into the basement, be quite funny for 20 minutes, an incredibly frightening man would give you an envelope, and you go, here you go, see you next week. And you go, oh, thank you. And you'd open it up, 60 quid in there, go home, buy your flat, right?
And when I grew up in Scarborough, I was always desperate to leave it. And I wanted to move on to bigger and better things. And then as soon as I left, I realised what an incredible town it is. And I was proud of it. And I always wanted to do Scarborough proud. I always thought if I ever make it in this town, when people think Scarborough, they'll think funny, they'll think Paddy Young. It sounds right. Sounds like the way things were going for me until New Year's Eve last year, just as the fireworks were about to go off. Does anyone remember what happened? A walrus, yeah. It was the first time a walrus had ever been seen on the Yorkshire coast. It was incredible. So we all got a bit closer to the walrus, then the walrus got a bit closer to us, and we got a little bit closer. And then the walrus started masturbating. Did you know that walruses masturbated? I didn't, no. No. Little bit defensive, if you ask me. No. Shutting all the tabs in his pocket, oh my fucking God. Shut down the subreddit, boys, he's got us. Well, I didn't know that they masturbated either. I didn't know they masturbate, but they're not normally in Scarborough either, so I don't know if this guy's just a bit of a Jack the Lad, turns up, wanks where he wants, goes home. Incredible. They cancelled the fireworks, he brought his own, my God. The line from the council was, they stopped the fireworks because they didn't want to cause the walrus any more stress. Now, I'm not an expert on walruses or stress. He looked fairly relaxed to me, He looked like he was about to have the nap of his life. The whole town enjoyed it. It was great. The elderly, the kids, we all learned something. It's a great evening. But in the wake of it, this walrus has become a bit of a viral sensation. People have enjoyed the video across the world. If you Google Scarborough funny, it's not Paddy Young. It's that fat, juicy cock. Lolloping about on our shore. It's so unfair. Like, look, I was a teenage boy in Scarborough. Like, do you realise how many wanks I must have had up there? Millions, probably. Never even made it in the Yorkshire Press. He's on the front page of the Guardian. I was keeping that water salty way before he crawled out of it.
I still get, when I fly, which is rare these days, I still get the random search, right? Which is obviously drug related at my age. Now, for example, fairly recently I went to South Africa to do the Cape Town Comedy Festival. Very privileged, only white acts on. It was absolutely a brilliant experience. Although I have to say, a little bit tricky for me going to South Africa. And you can laugh at me rather than with me on this one, because I am still boycotting South African products because of apartheid. I bet there's people in here that don't even know what apartheid is. It was that long ago. And I think what it is I'm one of these people that hold on to my political grudges. I think a lot of old people do that. No matter how outdated or unfashionable they become, you're still there, that's who I am, that's what I believe in. And my kids laugh at me, and I get that. But I think what's happened is I've turned into a modern version of my granddad. And I'm sure some of you remember this generation of British boycotters. He refused to buy Japanese stuff because of what happened to our lads during the war. And we laughed at him. But he kept it up till the day he died, which was in the late 1970s, which meant he had fuck all in his house. No fridge, no radio, no television. I doubt he even had the means to know the war had ended, the silly old sod. Then here I am doing exactly the same thing. But you know, when you're white and English, how far back do you go with this stuff? What? Croissants after 1066? No, I'm not going to IKEA till the Vikings say they're fucking sorry. So I got the random search twice. That's not random, is it? You get it on the way there, you get it on the way back. That's not fucking random. And it's very difficult when you're older. You know, be prepared for this. People on authority, they're all younger than you. You can't even take them seriously. He's pulled me over. I have to go through the process. I've done it so many times. And he looked at me and he went, "Did you know, sir, that it's illegal to bring drugs and firearms into the country?" Who in here doesn't fucking know that, right? I thought, why is he speaking to me like I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile? So I went, "Fucking hell! It's illegal now, is it? This must be the Brexit thing kicking in. I think you should put a sign up for something as important as that. Now you've fucked up all my gift ideas." Then he brought out the drug sniffer dog. Now, I've never been sniffed up by a drug sniffer dog in my life, given my previous lifestyle. Comes as a bit of surprise. So I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And immediately, I looked at the dog and I thought, wow, when I was younger, and maybe got up to a little bit of mischief, I always thought if ever I was going to get nicked by a dog, it'd be a German Shepherd. There's no shame in that, is there? Cocker fucking spaniel. How humiliating would that be to be nicked by your nan's dog, basically? But then I had a brainwave. I thought, hold on a minute. Drug sniffer dog, what a great pet that would make. You'd never lose your drugs ever again. And you'd always know where to buy drugs. Just take your dog for a walk. Although on a sadder note, when they finish their careers and end up in Battersea Dogs Home, do you think all the other dogs in there treat them like grasses and nonces in the nick? Because they work for the old bill, don't they? Hey, the fucking Rottweilers want to see you later, mate, all right? I was just going to say my drug of choice has changed, but now it's a drug of necessity. Painkillers. I don't know if I'm the only one. Most people I know that are over 50, certainly over 60, are on painkillers now because they're suffering from what my doctor calls, and I've got to tell you, this pisses me off, wear and tear. Wear and tear. It's a bit generic, isn't it? I want something with a Latin name, don't you? I said, can we call it Wearis Terrors? It sounds more serious, isn't it? So I wake up in the morning with me Wearis Terrors, as I'm sure one or two of you do, and I found a cup of coffee, a couple of painkillers, just takes the edge off the day. but it's actually harder to get painkillers than cocaine. What kind of world are we living in? Cocaine, 30 minutes on the phone. Painkillers, they ask you lots of questions before they hand it over, don't they? You wouldn't get a cocaine dealer doing that, would you? Are you on any other medication? Hey. When they do that in chemists now, start going, of course I am. What do you think I am, a fucking lightweight? Do you operate heavy machinery? I went, do I sound like a northerner to you? Yeah, I'm in my lunch break, mate. I've got to get back on the spinning jenny in 5 minutes. I'm from London, we've got fucking computers now. Why are you asking me these questions? And they went, well, here's the thing, so after 3 days of taking these painkillers, you could become addicted. And I thought he would look at my face and think, that bloke needs advice on drugs and firearms. I said, don't worry about me. I must have been part of every youth culture, every drug-related youth culture since the late 1960s. I must have sampled every drug we've all ever heard of. You tell him it's going to be now, then, at my age, after 3 days of taking Nurofen, that's going to be the thing, is it, that finally and eventually pushes me over the fucking edge, put me wife on the game to feed me habits, sell me blonde kids to Romanian gypsies, yeah. It was all going all right, so they brought that Nurofen Plus out. That's what fucked me right up.
So you know what else I used to look up to, right? I used to look up to other people's dads. Because my dad was a great bloke. I thought everyone's dad must be a great bloke. It's just going to work out. Didn't work out at all. I became a dad, and I figured out it doesn't take that much to become one. Now, it's almost as if they let any old fuckwit become a dad now. It's amazing. There's a dad who's got kids at my kid's school, right, and he's a cool dad. I can't stand cool dads. I am just having a second pop at you, cruising around trying to elicit high fives from kids, that sort of shit. It's contemptible. This guy, right, he's one of these guys. He's in his 40s and he's got fashion hair. And not that reverse sideburn look you sometimes see on the modern youth. No. He's got like spiked up hair. All the way around, spiked up hair. And he's tall, but not tall enough for me not to know what's going on up there. Just looks like a fenced off slice of Devon. And all the other parents there at school pick-up time, they're largely mothers, so they're not tall enough to see what's going on, but I know. They're like, oh, leave him alone. He's a bloody great bloke. He's just a square peg. He's a special ray of sunshine in an otherwise flavourless world. He's amazing. It's bullshit. I can't stand this prick. He's a loser. He's trying to negate something shit going on in his life. You'll see. And most parents, right, who are resigned to the natural ageing process, when you turn up at school time to pick up your kids, you just turn up and through gritted teeth go, get in the fucking car, you little thing. Cool dad, because he's cool dad. He comes flying through the front gates on a skateboard, doing that shaky telephone symbol on his way in. And this thing, right, that's fine if you're an actual skater on your commute between acts of vandalism and petty crime. Or maybe it's all right if you're fresh off a mid-flight brawl and you've been zip-tied to seat 38G and you're posing for a photo with one of your mates doing the double, the Gold Coast Denpasar salute. Or as it's better known in the media, the Jetstar jiggle. While I'm down here too, I'm not going to be one of those comedians who rips into Bali. Heaps do that. It's too much. But Bali's fine. Like, statistically, about a third of you make multiple trips to Bali. And I'm not here to judge you filthy fucking pigs. That's not my bag of chips. But when you're going to Bali, just remember who you're talking to when you announce your trip to Bali. I work with this bloke, and he says that he goes to Bali by himself a fair bit, which should raise eyebrows on its own merits. When he sees he's going, he says, oh, no, I'm going to Bali, but I'm going to the nice part. I go to the beautiful part. I don't go to that shit part where there's Aussies bashing each other on the beach and there's chip packets and Band-Aids floating around the ocean. Yuck. No, it's disgusting. I go to the beautiful part. You wouldn't believe it. It's just over the hill. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's just full of om and spirituality and noticeably less dogs on the dance floor. And if you're lucky, in the beautiful part, you'll bump into some of those perverts who've had to relocate their businesses from the hinterland areas of Australia over to a country where collecting vulnerable women is slightly less frowned upon. So, yeah, slippery old slope yoga, isn't it? But that's it. With yoga, right, 1 minute you're in a beautiful Byron-based studio just down-dogging, and you look over your shoulder and the yoga instructor's back there tucking his stiffy into the sash of his caftan. You can go, that's fine, that's probably just an isolated incident. And the next minute you're in an exclusive holistic femaleness retreat in Bali in a remote location, just getting invited to the guru's special gazebo of oneness to sweep it out and administer his daily perineum massage. And that's the nice part of Bali. I'd rather be down in Kuta getting a half stubby bin tank smashed across the back of my fucking head any day. It's one of those places too where men come back, right? This guy I work with, he came back from his latest trip to Bali and he said, look, I've been to Bali again. I brought back a little souvenir. You go, man, that sounds sus, man. Souvenirs are fine, but when you say little souvenir, we're not talking about a snow dome or a fridge magnet, are we? No. You've gone and got yourself another cluster of boils around the base of your tockley, haven't you, filthy animal? He said, no, nothing like that. And how dare you, one of my oldest and closest friends, judged me based only on the cliche that I've been to Southeast Asia by myself. Again. Particularly galling in front of my new fiancée here, whose anglicised name is Little Souvenir. So this thing, right, that's fine in those situations. But the Ridgy Dish, that's got no business at school pickup. I saw Cool Dad, right, this fucking hacky sack owner he was at a kid's party in a public park. It was one of those parties where they'd set up a slack line, which is a ratchet strap that the moderns put between two trees to act as a handy trip hazard for people like me. And the kids can try to balance on it, it's a good time, whatever. But Cool Dad, because he's Cool Dad, he had to go himself. And right in front of everyone, he's attempted a backflip dismount and ended up with one leg either side of the thing. Which most men, on their better late than never path to maturity, would see doing your nuts on a truck strap as a watershed moment. But not this poon, no way. He's one of these guys who says things like, oh, age is just a number. Well, yeah, well, so's bone density, you fuckstick. So, last time I saw this negligent parent, he was down at a trampoline centre. I don't know if any of you have one near your houses, but there's a trampoline centre near where I live. And it's trampoline centres. It's a place you can take your kids and they can just rattle their brains about for 5 or 6 hours in a row under what must be said is very lax supervision. And then you just take them home, put them to bed, hope they wake up. I was down there, right, and I saw Cool Dad then. Because he's Cool Dad, he got himself a wristband and had a go himself while his kids were on there. It was just heaps of kids and Cool Dad double bouncing him, having a bloody great time. And after only 10 minutes of frolicking, I heard that scream, that horrible scream you only ever hear from children when they're thinking, shit, we should have got ourselves a more appropriate hero in our lives. One more in touch with his ageing physical limitations, such as our new stepfather, Daryl. Because Cool Dad, he was being wheeled onto an ambulance with a compressed spine and a broken nose inflicted by his own knee. And he's in quite a lot of pain. He had his hands on his head there and he had to take one of them off to show us that he's all right. Causing everyone else to see what was going on up there. And then they knew what I already knew. The Cool Dads are no good fucking losers. Just trying to hide their baldness one way or another.
Very, very private. Every morning when I go into Costa, I give a fake name every single time. Don't know why I do that, right? In fact, I've given you a fake name now. I go to Starbucks. I wouldn't be seen dead in a Costa. You kidding me? The name I do give, though, is John Spencer. Now, you don't know this, but I did some research, found out the local area manager of all the Starbucks near me is called John Spencer. That gets you a good cup of coffee. But I lie all the time. I lie to my friends. Like if I'm out at a restaurant and everyone's saying, oh, what are you going to order? What are you going to order? I hate that question. So I lie. Right? I hate that question because I'm like, you're gonna find out in 2 minutes. Why are we bothering with finding out this stuff? So I'm like, oh, I don't know, the scallops. And then a big conversation breaks out about the way I'm pronouncing scallops. And then the waiter comes over, I'm like, the steak, please. And my friend's like, what? You said, we had a whole conversation about the way they pronounce scallops, and now you ordered the steak. Are you telling the truth about anything, Stuart? Did you even get here by hot air balloon? I'll never tell. But it's so difficult these days to be truly private because, like, social media, the algorithms know everything about us. They know where we are, what we like, but they're not listening in. Found this out. They're not listening in, and I think that's a shame. That's a shame, right? I want it listening in. Are you kidding me? I'm fucking funny. I don't mind. If you're in the government, who have you got today? Stuart. Oh, you're in for a good day. I don't want them knowing where I am. I'm 39. I go to M&M World way too much. I'm obsessed with that place. If you don't know about M&M World, it is a shop in the middle of London, the most expensive place to have a shop in the entire country, and it is 4 floors, and all it is no one's favourite chocolate. That's all they sell. It has to be a criminal organisation. That is the only explanation. I don't understand it. I'm obsessed. But because of the fact that you're in here with me, your algorithm will now be affected by being here with me. You'll start getting served adverts after the show for gilets. And presumably my algorithm will be affected by being in here with you, and I'll start getting served tickets to a more mainstream comedian. Always hurts when that one gets a laugh. I realised that I was having a problem with privacy when I was sat on a train and I suddenly realised I was panicking because I didn't want people to know I was getting off at the next stop. I thought, that's too private, right? But you know that feeling when you're on the train and you're just sort of minding your own bees, just like, yeah. You know that feeling? You're just minding your own bit, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know that feeling, right? Yeah. Sorry, I know what's happened here. Bees. It's short for business. It's not normal length for bees. If any of you are like, oh, I could take bees on a train, trust me. If you take one thing from this show, you cannot take bees on a train. What? Fine, I'll get a taxi. What? Fine, I'll take the hot air balloon. But yeah, I was sitting there just like minding my own bees, just taking it all in. Yeah. And you know that feeling, and then you spot them, right? That person, they're putting on their coat, they're packing away their book, and you think, you fucking mug. It's fucking amateur hour over here. I got the cut of your jib, sunshine. You're getting off at the next stop, you pathetic fucking fuck. Now, I would hate anyone to think those terrible words about me. So I do everything I can to make it look like there is no way I'm getting off at the next stop. I try and look as comfortable as possible. I start taking layers off down to the base gilet. Couple of books out, get a couple of books on the go, right? And they're like, oh, this guy's got a lot of reading to do. He's here for a while. And then if that's not working, I'll start a haircut. Yeah. Not on myself. I've got that Play-Doh set, you know, where you force it through the skull and then it comes out. Bloody hell, he's got old fringe to do. He's here for a while. And then just to seal the deal, just in case anyone's on the edge, right, I'll just start a rumour. Classic me. That is classic me. And we all know how rumours work, right? You say something subtle that someone wants to gossip about. So the person next to you hears it, like, oh, I've got to tell everyone. I've got to tell everyone on the carriage. Right, something subtle just to tease the fact that you might be on the train for a little while longer than they expect. Just something casual. Just be casual, just for them to... I am in this for the long haul. That goes round the carriage like wildfire. Of course it does, right? That sort of gossip, you can't let that lie. And then just before the doors close at my stop, I fling everything out. Gilet flapping in the wind, Play-Doh hair going everywhere. I dive out after it. Everyone's like, what? What the hell was that? I don't know. It looked like a really comfortable man. Yeah, I heard rumours he was in it for the long haul. Yeah, I even took a photograph of him just in case someone asked me to design a pamphlet about how comfortable train travel can be. Oh, you're a graphic designer, are you? No, but I harbor ambition. You're human. I'm human. And then they kiss. What are we talking about?
Recently moved into a 2-bedroom flat. Share it with 45 strangers. Give us a cheer if you are a homeowner. Woo, yeah, nice, yeah. Put your hand up, why not? You've already won, lad. Put 2 up. Go on. His life's just a roller coaster going up. Nice one, Shagger. I'm so happy for you. Nice. You like cooking in the house that you own? Yeah, of course you do. All that space. So much space they've got to put an island in the middle of that kitchen. God forbid. They've got to swim from one length of the room to the other to get their cutlery. Now let's get a mass of land, catch our breath, see where we're at. You like listening to music when you cook, don't you, homeowners? I know that. I've seen you. Yeah. Something smug like Six Music. Tapping away on your pots and pans. Le Creuset, is it? Oh, my kettle matches my toaster. I'll kill you. I told you that already. I'm going to wear your skin. My face is going to match your face, but... Sorry, I didn't... I won't kill him after the show. Well, I've never killed anyone. Just that we can't cook on our own in a house share, can we? I've never cooked alone in my entire life. God knows I try. I get in there about 2 o'clock in the morning. Find the non-stick pan with the most non-stick left on top of it. Wipe away the dust of the previous meal. As soon as I light that hob, all my housemates come out of the woodwork. All of us cooking at the same time. We look like a DJ crew. Why are we cooking at the same time? We own one spatula. My housemate's doing the pasta with a bread knife. All right, yeah. Explains what happens to all the non-stick then, doesn't it? Now I've got a non-stick bread knife. Which is a shame, because I want to stick it in your throat. Pour everything through the one sieve. Fight over the one dinner plate. Miss out on that, you're eating out of a stolen Beavertown glass. Gotta get your Huel somehow, haven't you? Got some Huel boys in tonight? Yeah! Of course they are, look at that. Listen to that boy! He doesn't have time to chew, he's too busy talking over women! You got the Huel t-shirt?
Oh yeah, big time. Left it at home.
You left it at home? Such a shame. What kind of man is wearing a Huel t-shirt? You know the way like venomous animals are brightly coloured? It's nature's way of telling you that man's a predator. Huel regret giving him your number. No, but it's Do you know what we do in a house share when we finish cooking? You might not remember this, homeowners. When we finish cooking, we all go to our bedrooms. And we eat alone. Like prisoners. Not regular prisoners, no. They're socialising. They're in the canteen, those boys, no. No, we are the sex offenders wing. We are household full of nonces. Eating scrambled eggs in bed. Police found a terabyte of Jamie Oliver recipes. I thought they were 18-minute meals. Yeah, there will be jokes, piggies. You just got to sniff them out. You really do. Not only do we cook at the same time, one of my housemates has started stealing my food. Terrible, isn't it? David is the man's name. Hated him the moment I met him. Describes himself as a slow burner, which is how I'd kill him, let me tell you. The reason he steals my food is because he grew up in a commune. You know, so like he was, you know, like raised, like incorrectly. Takes a village. No, it takes one or two parents. You know? You know, so stealing is just part of his culture. You know, it's not part of mine, despite being from the north. So I confronted him about it. I said, David, lad, someone's been eating all of my risotto. Yeah, we've got that in the north. I said, someone's been eating my risotto, and he said, don't you mean our risotto? So I coughed in our mouth. Share and share alike, Shagger. Been through a lot together, me and David. He caught COVID just after me. Weird how the world works sometimes, isn't it? Trying to enjoy the flat share, because, you know, despite the injustice, that's the worst thing, don't you think? The injustice of the property market?
Yeah, I agree.
Just for those at the back, this man does not have a gun to his head. Absolutely. I've never voted Tory in my entire life. What do you do for a living?
I work for an insurance company.
One of the good guys! I hate the injustice of it all. We found out recently our landlady owns 8 houses. I know! Isn't that terrible to think if she was a landlord, she'd own 12? How many ceilings must she own before she can break through the glass ones? Trying to get a fundraiser going for the old girl. I've raised 600 quid by leaving a bit of blue tack on the wall. It's all you can do. I am trying to enjoy it, but I don't work in insurance, so, you know, I realise I'll live there for a long time. Because I do this. In one of the most expensive cities in the world. I've done the maths. I'll probably die in that flat share. Sounds depressing, doesn't it? But it's not. I'm looking forward to them lot cleaning up after me. And they'll be bitching about it on the WhatsApp group. Excuse me, guys. I'm not sure who left the corpse in the living room. I'm gonna buy a gun, shoot myself, and put it on Splitwise. I swear to God! Why do we have WhatsApp groups for the people we live with? Do you know what I mean? Like, the house is the group. We don't need to text. Walls are so thin, every time I sneeze, I hear someone typing out "bless you" in the next room. Thin walls in our flat. So believe you me, the winters are freezing. We don't turn on the heating because we don't want each other to be happy. Luckily for me, I've got a Lenovo laptop from 2012. So. 3 tabs on Google Chrome, my neighbours are sweating. I open Zoom, the whole street's on holiday. Bloody hell! Tenerife's are calling.
Yeah, I was on the airline Emirates. Yeah. And the seats recline the most furthest. Yeah, you didn't know that, but yeah. They have, like, a rich cornucopia of entrees, a veritable tapestry of mains, and a wide variety of desserts. Some of the widest selection of options on any modern aeronautical vessel. But when it comes to Emirates, the airline, your freedom drops dramatically when you land in the country. Like, the sky-to-land ratio of freedom plummets dramatically when you land in Emirates. It's Shiraz in the sky, Sharia in Dubai. That's a bit of a limerick for the Irish people in the crowd. Jetstar's the opposite. They're trying to weigh your bag. You're hiding behind a pillar like Anne Frank. Because your bag's a kilo over, you only got $7 left. You try and take Pringles off the tray, she's trying to cut your fucking hand off, you piece of shit. But then you land and you can shoplift and it's fine, so that's cool. That's what we'd like to see, and that'd be nice. God damn it. Nasty. Oh, guys. Imagine if there was a fantasy portal from another world and an elf came through right now. You'd be like, you don't belong in this realm. This is a clear realm violation. If an orc came through, you'd be like, I just saw your colleague from the Enchanted Forest, the elf. What's going on here? This is unbelievable. This bit goes for 7 hours, by the way, so it's going to make Lord of the Rings look like a fucking TikTok. But yeah, I hope you're familiar with folklore, but imagine if there was a fantasy portal and a dwarf came through. You'd be like, yeah, we've already got you. Visiting or returning? Like, you'd have to check, you know, like customs, like Form 2Qs, like you're a resident or you're a tourist, you know, we've got to... Fantasy authors are crazy. It's the only mythological character that's just a regular dude. Like a dwarf in Narnia is a dwarf in Redfern. There's no difference. Do you think a wizard's ever hanging out with a dwarf? They're just looking at a crystal ball. He's like, yeah, you know there's a parallel universe where you can get the disability pension? You don't have to slay dragons for gold. They'll just give it to you. So, like, you can teleport, baby. But my parents, they're always trying to get me to go to, like, Othello, King Lear, Hamlet. And I'm like, no, I'm good at it. I can just get the train and see some meth head have the most hectic conversation on loudspeaker of just Shakespearean levels of paranoia and drama. You tried to poison me, you dog. I trusted you and you turned your back on me just as I was down. He's holding a skull, reminds me of my dad. It's a possum skull from an electrical incident, but it's the same vibe. He's with one of the witches from Macbeth, just whispering shit in his ear, getting him all riled up. He did betray you, stab him. Instead of a cauldron, she's got a Yui boom, just blasting Skrillex on the quiet carriage, making everyone uncomfortable. Don't you worry, child. There's a guy headbutting a payphone. Why have you forsaken me? They should tap all payphones, record all the conversations and release it as an audio book called Macbeth. Then maybe I could get some REM sleep. I haven't slept for 4 years. That's why this is happening. They come up to you out of the street, these characters. Slings and arrows of misfortune, nangs and durries cost a fortune. Meth heads are like bridge trolls because they speak in riddles and block your path. And if you don't solve them, you get hepatitis. They're like, you, me and 3 hobgoblins stole Mr. Magoo's wand, yes? And you're trying to calculate the best response that's going to minimise the situation. You're like, maybe if I participate in his version of reality, he'll appreciate that and let me pass into the gentrified zone. So I can go to Fishbowl. You're like, yeah, I remember. He's like, wrong, motherfucker. God damn it. I dropped acid before this and I'm still trying to find it and people offer me acid oil. I'm like, I'm already tripping. You don't bring paprika to Sandeep's Curry Hut. It's spicy enough. Man, we glorify serial killers now, eh? There's no segues here. You know? Like, remember Ted Bundy? They got Zac Efron to play him. That's not right. Serial killing's the only crime where you get a glow up. When I got caught stealing a Yabby pump from Aldi, they just released the CCTV footage. They didn't hire Chris Hemsworth to reenact it. And now they go into the origin story of these sick puppies. You know, they go right back on the backstory. They're like, yeah, he had a weird relationship with a frog when he was 6. So you start empathising with them. You're like, yeah, I get it, brother. If I had a weird relationship with a frog when I was 6, I'd also store my co-worker's torso in a barrel of acid and dissolve it. Jeffrey Dahmer's got a better chance of redemption than Ellen DeGeneres. That's the problem with Ellen. She didn't go far enough. She stopped her bullying. She should have cut him up into tiny pieces. Then people would visit her in prison and watch her dance through the plexiglass, just with the sticker-skewered head swiveling around like a kebab spit. That's Ellen, my Ellen, baby. I love you. You're a monster. You're my monster. Voldemort's got a better chance of a comeback than the woman who created him. She who must not be named. Because I think it's better to dismember than misgender. You can't microdose evil, you've got to double drop. If you make a faux pas at a party, just eat everyone there. Because then they'll make a documentary about it. They'll be like, he was hangry. I don't know what noise that was, but I feel like a farmer whose animals are turning against him, but... Remember that movie? But you know President Zelensky? I love this guy. I'd love to have a fling with Zeleng. Because of the way he looks. My friends call me Finocchio because the more I lie about being gay, the harder my dick gets. I'm like, I like pussy, boy. That was as hard to do as it was to listen to. That's a free trade agreement. But he's at peak hero, Zelensky. Like, it can only go down from there. One mistake. You know, when you're at peak hero, like, he'll be rude to a waiter. Someone will film it, it'll be like, bye-bye, Zelensky, bye now. Meanwhile, Putin will get diagnosed with ADHD and we'll be like, that's why he did it, I guess. One of the symptoms is an ex in Crimea now he'll release a book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle with Focus. How I Conquered the Ukraine and my ADHD. It'll be a... I'm still trying to work out who the coward is in the coward punch thing. Because on the one hand, you've got a guy who's willing to risk it all. His reputation, a prison sentence, a job at Nando's, probably. All just to hit a stranger for absolutely no reason. And on the other hand, you've got a guy who dies from one punch. What a pussy. You know, like... Who's the coward in this situation? The guy who achieved what Mike Tyson couldn't? Or Humpty Dumpty head slumped on the sidewalk like a rag doll? I prefer when it was called a king hit, because it takes a king of a bloke to down another with one foul swoop. More like the brave cunt special punch, but yeah, I don't work in marketing, you're a consultant, let's make it happen.
Do you know what? How bad do you think crime is in this country? Way worse in America, because so many of them have got access to guns, you see. I think if it was easy to get hold of a gun in this country, I would get one and shoot a lot of people. People who stand in the middle of busy escalators. My daughter. I could finally get an appointment with my GP. Just kick open that waiting room door. Everybody, listen up! I'm going next! I've woken up with a very sore throat and I've been in a hole since this morning! You know what? GP receptionists wouldn't take any shit, would they? She'd get up from behind the desk. with a sawn-off shotgun. Nobody gets a same-day appointment unless it's an emergency. Now you're eligible. You'll need to phone the surgery tomorrow at 8 a.m. So, Harry and Meghan. Oh, look at that. Look at that. No other couple makes people react like that apart from Adolf and Eva. I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I fucking hate them. They started off and they're making interesting points about racism and misogyny. Then they start calling each other H&M, and I just thought, oh, do fuck off. By the time Harry starts describing this one date with Meghan as the night, let me quote you here, me and M pulled the pin on a fun grenade. I actually started rooting for Prince Andrew. If you haven't seen the documentary, lucky you. Ginger Royal meets fit American actress. She then discovers that everything is so unfair. He then discovers that racism is actually a bad thing. And then they moan about everything. Harry says, how do you explain to someone who've just started dating that they have to curtsy to your own grandmother? And I'm thinking, maybe just tell her that your grandmother is the fucking queen. And you're in the royal family. I don't know how to break this to you, H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you. They were complaining they had to pay for their own security. They were not happy about that. Yeah, they were very worried about their safety, which I get that aspect of things. After 6 episodes, I wanted to attack them. Something about them. I don't know what it is. I look at them. I genuinely think they are the sort of couple who look at each other when they're having sex. These are sick people. There's one thing I genuinely like about Harry and Meghan, how angry they make Piers Morgan. And the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail hate her, don't they? Hate her. I don't know why they hate that black woman. You know what I've noticed? The more they hate Meghan, the more they love Kate. I like Kate. They love Kate. Kate could do no wrong. Kate could murder a panda cub. Witnesses see her clambering over the London Zoo enclosure and kicking the shit out of this tiny, fluffy, 6-month-old, wheelchair-bound panda cub. The next morning, Daily Mail front page, caring Kate gets panda to heaven. Meghan's a whore. Have you heard that phrase, a country gets the politicians it deserves? What do you think we did? All of them, right? I mean, Keir Starmer, he looks like the sort of bloke you'll get stuck talking to at a mate's wedding. Oh, shut up, please. Rishi Sunak looked like the sort of bloke who still gets tucked in at night. Night, Rish. You done a wee-wee? Good boy, I've checked all the cupboards for monsters. It's all in your imagination, OK? Poor people aren't real. Liz Truss, that should not count as Prime Minister. That was work experience. And we weren't allowed to vote for 2 of the last 3 of them. Isn't that mad? Britain's Got Talent is more democratic than Britain. Like, for 3 years, the only chance any of us had to vote for anyone in government was when Matt Hancock went on I'm a Celebrity. Then he came 3rd on the show. Wow, the public vote. The public forgave him. I mean, what would it take for people not to forgive someone who goes on I'm a Celebrity? Sat there watching next season. Didn't like him at first, but he has won me over. I'm voting for Putin. Do you know who could do it going on next series of I'm a Celebrity? Philip Schofield. Yeah, Philip Schofield, the people's paedophile. Old Scof, he had an affair with one of his runners, didn't he? Naughty Scof. Matt Hancock had an affair with one of his aides. Don't know what an aide is. I mean, I wouldn't mind when they see him up for it. Scof had an affair with one of his runners. I know what a runner is. A runner is someone who literally, they work on a TV show and they run around. Yeah, getting whatever the presenters want. They're all over the place. Quickly, cup of tea for Holly. There you go. Blow job for Phil. A couple of seasons ago, I got interviewed to go on I'm a Celebrity. I didn't do it. Thank you for working. I didn't. One, I wasn't sure if it was the right thing for me to do. Two, they turned me down. They said not enough people know my name. Well, they've got a little bit of a point. Like, once a week, someone will come up to me in the street and be like, mate, massive fan of yours, can I grab a selfie? What's your name again? And I'll say, oh, thank you, it's Simon Brodkin. And then they'll say, no, that's not it. Amazon just put out a drama series about corruption in world football, and they got actors to recreate my whole Sepp Blatter stunt. I did not get the part of me. Went to prison for that. I got to get a little bit of credit. The funny thing about that stunt, after I threw the money over Sepp, I'm dragged out the room and I'm held just outside the press conference. 2 minutes later, Sepp abandons the press conference, and then he stood next to me. We're like a couple of naughty school kids who've both been sent out of class. One of them for chucking something, the other one for fraud, bribery and money laundering. He turns to me, he says, you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, fuck, I want to slap him, but I was handcuffed to a chair. And I got dragged to this police cell in downtown Zurich. It was gorgeous. The breakfast alone is worth a criminal record. The beds were divine, as I wrote in the visitor's book. They were lovely. When the guards knocks on my cell the night after the stunt, you might want to know your little joke is all over the internet. Would you like to come and have a look? Yeah? Give me 5 minutes, just getting out of the bath. Biggest bastards were the American law enforcement after I stunted Donald Trump. So Trump was opening one of his golf courses in Scotland, right? And he was giving this big speech on the green in front of the press. I dressed up as if I worked on the resort, and then I threw hundreds of golf balls at his feet, and I said, everyone, this is part of the new Donald Trump golf range. And they all had swastikas on them. He didn't find it funny. It was actually the Scottish police that got to me first. Cuffed me, arrested me, chucked me in the back of a van. I sat there, crapping myself for over an hour. And then this big, burly, armed officer yanks open the van door, says, "Yous, mate, are very fucking funny." Loosens my handcuffs, gives me a sip of his iron brew, then gets me to sign one of the golf balls. They were great, yeah, the Scottish police, they were amazing. They persuaded the Americans not to press charges against me, and then they drove me to Glasgow Airport. I got a flight back to London, or, as they told Donald Trump, they deported me. If you want to understand the difference between the US and the UK, to get around Donald Trump's security, I had to get around the CIA, FBI, Secret Service, his own personal bodyguards. I had to do reconnaissance missions, bag swap, fake ID. To get around Theresa May's security at the Tory party conference in Manchester when I gave her the P45, I had to buy a ticket. So normally after a stunt, there's a little bit of press interest, a few photographers camped outside my house, and then a few days later, everyone's moved on and forgotten about it. After Trump stunt, it was different. Because after Trump stunt, the Donald Trump supporting Grand Wizard of the KKK, Mr. David Duke himself, outed me as a Jew. Now, to be honest, I already knew. So I was actually okay, KK. There's some mad leaders out there. I was reading this book about Iran. Right, I wasn't reading the book about Iran. I saw a documentary series about Iran. I didn't see the series. I'm going to level with you. I saw one episode. I saw one bit of one episode, all right? It was on mute. It might not have even been Iran. They've got this leader called the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah doesn't let women in Iran show their hair. He doesn't let men suck each other off. Nutter. Why are religious leaders always the meanest? God wants us to have fun. Yeah, God loves fun. God created everything, didn't he? Alton Towers. That was God. The waffles, bouncy castles. There's this dildo. It's got a dick on both ends. So one woman puts one end in her vagina like this. Fish, right? Another woman at the same time comes around the other end, puts the other end in her vagina like this. Bush. Right. All right, sorry if this is turning anyone on. And then both women at the same time fuck the same dildo. Like, And the other woman's on the other side at the same time. That's God. He's literally the most fun, isn't he? So what is the Ayatollah's problem? Like, does the Ayatollah think that God has an issue with women's hair? Does he think if you were to say to God, what is it you hate most, Almighty One? The heavens would open, a booming voice descend. It's women's fucking hair! I hate it! It blocks up plugs! Gets in your cereal! I cannot stand women's hair! Why do you think I killed my son? Because of his girly fucking bonnet!
I think that the last 8 years in this country has really ruined the whole "the president's been kidnapped" genre of action movie. I will say that it has deflated my enthusiasm. Man, that was a fun movie 10 years ago. That was fun. Oh, you'd go right to the cinema on Friday. The president's been kidnapped. Oh no, who's gonna save him? Channing Tatum? I hope his shirt doesn't come off. We were excited for those. You can't make that movie now. That movie does not have the steam it once held. The president's been kidnapped. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not good out there. People aren't happy, man. Inflation's out of control. Well, what are the kidnappers asking for? Healthcare? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll watch it, but I'm not rooting for who you want me to root for. Oh, they saved him? Okay, that's cool. Why my premium's still through the roof? I'm not going to the sequel, I'll tell you that. I like all those action movies. I like the president's been kidnapped movies. I like all the action movies are my escape. The world's filled with drama and turmoil and heartbreak. I don't need to go to the movies for that. I can just look outside and be like, it's bad. And so I like action movies because of the escapism. The dumber, the better. That's how it's plot holes, explosions that don't make sense. Give it to me. Why are you in space? Nobody asked. All right, fine. The only thing that can truly take me out of an action movie and really just destroy my suspension of disbelief is when the main action hero, when the star, like main guy, right when he does all the action, right after it's like when his penis just works. Okay. Like whenever he wants it to, just. The sexual prowess under pressure is the part. Okay. My favorite action movies of the current day and age that we're in are the Fast and the Furious movies. Those are my favorite ones. Arguably, sure. But even cheering, we know they're the dumbest ones out there. They're dumb, they know they're dumb, and we know they're dumb. And we're still like, give them to me. How dumb are the last one was called Fast X for Fast 10. There's 12 of them. They're like, it's Fast 10. Like, aren't there 12? They're like, shut up, dummy. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, it's fine. They're the guys that die in one just show back up. They don't even say why. They're just like, hey. They're like, oh, I thought you. Yeah. Like, and then they're formulaic. They're elaborate, but they're truly formulaic. Like, right, I'm going to describe one of the Fast and Furii to you right now, and pretty sure that's how you pluralize it. So, and if you don't know the franchise, you will not know if I'm just making this up, just pulling it out of my ass. You will have no. And if you do know the franchise, you still will not be sure, because they just blend into one long Camaro explosion. But say we'll choose anyone from like in the middle. So let's say like 3 to 8. Let's say anywhere in there. You never know what it's going to be. They've already done their first heist. They've established themselves. They've got their millions. You know, this rapscallion crew of Honda Civic jockeys. They've made a few bucks, and now they're in different parts of the world, just enjoying their life. Ah, we really did it. Nothing can go wrong now. And that's when just a representative from the U.S. government comes in like, we need this crack team of DVD player thieves. When that was relevant, we're the USA, strongest military in the world. Never mind about the Navy SEALs, but we're the strongest military in the world. That's part of the training now. We let puppies lick their toes, and if they crack, they're out. But right now, outside of the best, strongest, big dick military in the world, none of them know how to drive manual. So we really need you guys. We need you, bunch of Corona sipping degenerates, to help us out. What had happened? It's just a group of international terrorists. It's international now. They can't be from a country because that's problematic. But it's still terrorism, but it's very diverse. Who are these terrorists? I don't know. That guy's Cuban. I think he's gay. Whatever. They're fishes. They're all over the place. They're all over the place now. They've stolen the nuclear codes. It's always the codes. It's never the bots, the codes. Apparently somebody's just writing them down in a notebook and just leaving them in a backpack at Starbucks. They always get the codes. It's just somebody like, all right, I got my keys, I got my wallet, chapstick. Oh, my JanSport full of nuclear codes. I can't believe I left it on the bus. So, the terrorists have stolen nuclear codes. They've hidden them in a Lamborghini. That's right, hide something. They've hidden them in a Lamborghini. Tastefully colored. No, it's orange. Bright orange Lamborghini. And they've stashed it on top of the bad guy's skyscraper. That's where I'd put it. You can't put it in the garage. It'll get scratched. So there's a bright orange Lamborghini full of nuclear codes on top of a heavily protected skyscraper in a country that we will not name because this movie needs to make money everywhere. So, what did I tell you? You know, you got to feel. So that's on you guys now to help us, because our military can't do it. And they're like, all right, assemble. Well, let's first, who do we have in our team that might have like a connection? A guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who might have like just a special Lamborghini lifting helicopter. And then just out of the shadows comes former hip hop star Ludacris. Oh, sure. Of course. Can you imagine it being someone else? Other than Ludacris? I am convinced Ludacris does not know he's in these movies. I think Ludacris, he shows up wearing the clothes he was gonna wear anyway. And they just convince him to say a few key phrases. What? Lamborghini living in a helicopter. Got it, that's it. And they just They call him Ludacris half the time, I'm pretty sure. I don't know his character names, like Dave or Lugnut, I don't know. But they're like, all right, so Luda, shit, oh, should we cut? Because I called him, like, nope, we already blew the budget on special effects. Just keep going. But somehow they get Ludacris to say, yeah, I got a guy. And they're like, all right, cool. And so that's it. We're like, oh, we're like only 20 minutes in the movie, short and sweet. They cracked the case, you know? So special Lamborghini lifting helicopters coming over the horizon, you know, just approaching. And it's a unique looking helicopter. And bad guy skyscraper's over here, but it's a skyscraper. They got a vantage point with elevation. They're like, that looks like a particular kind of helicopter. Maybe one specifically designed for picking up Lamborghinis full of nuclear codes. And then the bad guys are like, well, should we double check? Like, where are the bad guys? And they just shoot it down. They just shoot it down right there. And you're 25 minutes in the movie, like, well, oh no, what are we gonna do? That was the plan. And so now we gotta go back to the clubhouse where everybody's hanging out. And we're like, all right, well, that plan, that was our one shot. So now we gotta go the real unorthodox, maybe something like with math and science and engineering. Do we have somebody in our group with like that kind of brain, that analytical thinking that could like figure out some way with engineering to get the car off there? Oh, yeah, former model Tyrese, of course. Of course, when I think of engineering mastermind, I think of Tyrese. Tyrese, I believe, is reading the script just below the camera at all times. Oh, what's up? You all need help getting a lamb giant? That says Lamgina, man. That's how it's spelled. Oh. Y'all need to get a Lamborghini off a building. And then they just cut to a whiteboard with a lot of shapes and numbers on it. And he just goes, there. You know, like that's, they just had some intern run in, just make geometric shapes and put some math on there. And that's when Tyree's like, well, if you drive it fast enough off the edge of the building and you could just fly it away on account of a Lamborghini has the doors that do this. It's got doors like this. Well, if you get enough speed, it could actually travel non-traditionally. That sounds like Back to the Future. Shut up, man. And so, if you got enough speed, all right, so that's the plan. We'll fly the Lamborghini. To where? Okay, well, I guess we could just like get a short-term lease on a good guy skyscraper across the street. We'll just roll in with some cash, talk to the landlord. According to Tyrese's calculations, we really only need floors 8 through 13. We really only need those. Given the trajectory of his math, that's where the Lamborghini should crash into. So we'll get a short-term lease there. Absolutely, short-term lease. All right, but now we have to execute this plan. Who do we have amongst our crew that is brave enough, that is strong enough, that is bald and dumb enough to... We all know who it is. My man Vincent Diesel. That's who's coming in there. Vincent Diesel. My man Dominic Toretto. I just go by Vincent these days. He hears him talking about, he scoots out from underneath some hot rod that's blowing up in every movie. Every movie, that car just fucking explodes at the end, and the next one starts with him like, Apparently all you need is like a 5/8 wrench to be like, back in action. He scoots out with a totally clean tank top and just stands up like, I'll do it. He's only got 5 lines. And he rolls in there. He gets to bad guy skyscraper. He just starts at the bottom, just indiscriminately just kills, shoots him, shoots this guy. Gets to 1 floor, like, where's the call center? What's happening? No witnesses. Shoots him. Gets him to what? We're just United Airlines customer service. What's going on? Double tap. I gotta fly them tomorrow. He just kills everybody in the skyscraper and gets up to the roof where the Lamborghini full of nuclear codes. And he gets in. And there's always a minute where he just like is horny for the car. Where he's like, you know. Why? He fires it up, backs up, shoots it towards the edge of the building. Boom, it goes. He pops the doors. That's it. They're the wings. It's flying. Of course it's flying. We've all agreed that this is real. I'm on my third bag of popcorn just going, of course it worked. Tyrese knows math. I'm absolutely with him on this, 100%. But then there's one terrorist he didn't get yet. There's one guy, and he's just barely hanging on, but he's dedicated to being a terrorist. And he's like, he pulls his AK-47 over by him, and he says something hack, because they didn't pay the writers well enough. So this guy's just like, not on my watch, or some shit. Like something dumb. And he's got one bullet left, and he fires it off. But it doesn't hit Vincent, it doesn't hit like the undercarriage, it just hits the window in the door, which that's where the lift exists for the Lamborghini to fly. Oh no, this whole plan unravels! Now the Lamborghini's spiraling, and Vincent's like, what are we gonna do? And it's spiraling, it's not gonna go to the designated floors that they gotta rent on. It just smashes into the side, a good guy skyscraper. And Vincent thinks quick, he flips outside, he grabs a seatbelt, he's dangling off the side of the building. He's holding on like an office chair that's hooked on an I-beam that's hanging out of a under construction office, and he's holding on to the Lamborghini by the seatbelt, just like, he gotta do this. And he's looking at his crucifixes just dangling, shining in the sunlight, and he looks at that, and that's when he's like, oh yeah, family, and he just, which is such, that's weird that's what that reminds him of, because the guy in that crucifix, his dad killed him. That's a weird thing to go with. But that's where he gets his strength, family, and and he flings the Lamborghini over his head into the office up there, and he drags himself up, and he's just got glass coming out of his bald head, and he's bleeding. He drags himself in there, and the rest of the crew, they all rush up to make sure he's okay, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so close. And the main, like the starlet, his wife, I don't even know, she shows up for the first 5 minutes in the movie and disappears, but then she's there at the end, like she was part of this crew the whole time, and she's like, oh, I can't believe, I'm so glad you're safe, don't you do that ever again. But then she's like, but also the way you saved the world, it's got me all, every time you just assert yourself this way, we should fuck. And he's just laying there bleeding like, all right. And that's the part of the movie where I'm like, okay, I was with you the whole time. I was with you from ludicrous, just being called ludicrous, from Tyrese knowing science. I was on board with everything. Flying Lamborghini, instantly, of course. But there's no way he's fucking rocking up for this. And not then, no. I just want one action movie where that's the moment where it really hits the realism, where it's just like everything happened, there's explosions, death, blood, and I just want the main guy to just be like, what, are you fucking around? Did you not see what I just... Can I get like 20 minutes? Jesus Christ. I see. This is what horned you up? What's wrong? I just killed all those guys. And that, not to mention, I ran up the whole building, but those guys had families. I'm sad about that. You don't really... And also, I've been at my target heart rate all day with this plan. I think this is rebar that went through a kidney. My blood pressure's plummeting, but I mean, if you need it, we can give it a shot, but it won't be good. I hope you're into people watching, because we're gonna have to do it in the ambulance, because I am fighting off the tunnel vision right now of a blackout, and I need fluids, not sexy fluids, vital fluids. I need fluids and monitoring, and I will be passing out throughout the whole thing. But if you want to give it a shot with the EMTs looking over us, I could try and thumb it in for as long as I'm conscious. I mean, that's the best I can promise you is every 30 seconds I'm just going to be slapping my dick against my hand like a TV remote with a dead battery. So, I mean, we can try, but I'd love 6 to 8 weeks for a full recovery, just to be honest with you there. So that's... Just give me an ounce of reality, Fast and Furious.